welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee. In this show, we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, and Patreon, and contact Dayspring Discussions on the Facebook group, Twitter account, and dayspringdiscussions@gmail.com. Well, guys, it is finally here. Solo, a Star Wars story, came out this weekend. Hope you all went to go check it out because this is a spoilers review. Joining me for the review is the mistress of Mandalore herself, Miss Lisa Locke McGahee.
Hello.
All right, guys. So you know how we do it here, okay? We do spoilers, so hopefully you've seen the movie. If you haven't, Darth Maul's in it. Ha. Anyway, there you go. There's your first big spoiler. That's the biggest spoiler, I think, in the movie. So you can just relax from here on out. But go see the movie, pause, come back, and then, of course, fire back on the social media groups and a Gmail account and let us know what you thought. So Lisa and I are going to go through, give kind of our general thoughts about the film, and then you guys, of course, let us know what you think, too. So, starting off, this was a film with a very complicated production, because starting off, they announced a Han Solo or a young Han Solo spin-off film, and a lot of people really didn't want to see it. A lot of people thought that Han Solo, the best part about him, or one of the best parts about him, was the mystery of the character, the mystery of his origins. So a lot of people didn't want that. Then they named...
And they didn't want it to not be Harrison Ford.
Exactly, okay? So they named the directors, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, coming off of the Lego Movie and the 21 Jump Streets, kind of on a high, the popular directors at the time. Okay, then you brought in star Alden Ehrenreich to play a young Han Solo. Another thing that was a little controversial. Some people didn't want it. They wanted Harrison Ford, but obviously that wasn't possible. And production starts to go a little awry. We hear rumors that things are going well. And then suddenly, halfway through, not even halfway through, Phil Lord and Chris Miller are fired, and they bring in Ron Howard to shoot or reshoot 70% of the film. They don't move the date. It's coming out in May, where all the other Star Wars movies, as of late, come out in December. But here we are. It's come out. Everything is settled. So, Lisa, what did you think of Solo, a Star Wars story?
I mean, overall, I liked it. I left with a positive opinion of the film. I think that it took a little while for me to get into. The first half of the film I thought was kind of slow. There was a few bits and pieces here and there where I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm glad they put that in, whatever. But, I thought the first half was kind of slow. I've heard some other complaints. People felt it was dark. Not dark in tone, but dark in color. Like that it was actually... the lighting was dark.
I can see that, yeah.
I've had several people I've heard that I know that have complained that it seemed kind of dark. I didn't think it was too dark.
Yeah.
It was definitely, the cinematography probably could have been lightened up a smidgen there. But, it was a little bit, the coloring was a little bit muted. Everything was kind of drab.
Drab. I'm not familiar with that word, drab.
Anyway.
What does drab mean for us who are not
muted.
Very smart?
It was just kind of muted and dull and... everything was there were not a lot of colors. In the whole movie there was not a lot of color. Lando was like the only bit of color pop you got.
He was very bright.
Yeah, his outfits and stuff had a lot of color. Everything else was very grayscale.
I like that scene too when Kira was trying on his capes.
I know.
You got the whole closet full of capes, and someone's got to be trying them on, right?
Of course.
Someone's got to test out the wardrobe.
Yeah, but overall, the second half of the movie though, I definitely was involved. I was into it. I really enjoyed it. The second half, I felt like it went a lot faster. All of a sudden it was over, and I was like, oh man, because I thought the second half of the story was much more interesting, was much more intriguing.
Yeah.
I think the acting was a highlight
Yeah.
in it. All of the actors
yeah.
in it. I thought Alden Ehrenreich did a great job. I thought he was very Han Solo-esque. I think he represented the character very well.
I think he represented him with at that younger stage, because I felt like I was attached to this character more than normally I am Han Solo, because I'm not a big Han Solo guy. I'm not the anti-hero guy. I like Superman over Batman. I like Captain America over Iron Man. I like Cyclops over Wolverine. I like Luke Skywalker over Han Solo. I thought he was cool. Han Solo was always great, but he was always that that anti-hero that personally I related more to Luke. With this, we have a young Han Solo who's not as bitter, I guess, against the world. So he's still a little more hopeful. He wants to win a ship so he can go back and get his girl. He had that hopeful youth. And to me, as a person who didn't want to see a young Han Solo film, because I'm not a big Han Solo guy, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film more than what I thought I was going to.
I think it did a lot to show you why he's the bitter Han Solo that he is now. It's like he had horrible beginnings. He, spent all that time doing what he could to try to get back to rescue this girl that he loves. And then when
she ditches him.
And then she betrays him. I totally see
I would get into that.
why.
Okay, now, obviously, what's his name? Beckett betrayed him.
Oh, yeah.
But do you think Kira betrayed him or just kind of left him because she felt it was the better thing for him?
No, I do. I think that she did it with his because she knew she had a life she couldn't get out of.
Yeah, well, it's like that last part there. They're going up the elevator, and she's like, you don't win, you just try to keep playing the game.
Yeah, I don't think that she betrayed him, really. I do think that she loved him, but she knew she could not get out of that life, and she didn't want him to be trapped in it.
Yeah.
I think she made the best decision. She thought she was doing the best for him. I do think that is how it ended up. But from Han's point of view, he always tries to do the right thing, even though he wants to act like he's not doing it right.
Yeah, like she said, he's like, I know who you are. You're the hero.
Yeah, he wants to act like he doesn't care and doesn't want to help anybody, but really he does.
Yeah.
He's not really the scoundrel he thinks that
No,
he
he just wants everyone to think he's the scoundrel.
Right,
exactly. So
but I did like a lot of the bits and pieces they put into this to kind of show you how he became, how he met Chewie.
Yeah.
How he saved Chewie.
I think
the Kessel Run, all those things.
There was a couple things that were like on the nose too. Like, I forget what it was, like some lines that were just like a little too much on the nose for me. I can't really think of any examples where, like, they're hinting at stuff in the future or, whatever. Oh, the one there was like, what is it? Lando's like, nobody's made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
No, he said 20.
20, yeah, exactly. And I was like, the famous line is he made it in 12 parsecs,
Yeah, Lando said no one's made it in less than 20.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, things like that were like, okay, you're kind of hitting it on the nose. It's a little bit. But overall, like I said, I enjoyed the film more than I thought I was going to. I never thought I'd say this, but I want to see another Han Solo movie. I mean, I'm okay if we don't, I guess, because they set this one so well up.
Yeah, you don't really need
At the end there, you got Han and Chewie with the Falcon, and they're like, hey, I know this gangsta named Jabba who's putting together a crew, It's like, okay, we get it. Yeah, it's that part. But I wouldn't mind seeing more of them. And even not even if it's on film, but if it's maybe in a book. Although I feel like maybe I wouldn't enjoy it as much in book form because it doesn't have Ehrenreich's, charisma, his acting or performance in it is what it would be. So, but yeah, I mean, what kind of things did you not like about the film, though?
I mean, I don't think there was anything that I was necessarily like, I didn't like that, or I didn't like that. Yeah. There really wasn't. I mean, like I said, I think the beginning was a little slow.
It was, yeah. It was a lot of setup, and it was like, I feel like it was almost like forced setup. Like, I felt like the end flowed a little better than what the beginning did.
Yeah. But there really wasn't anything where I would look at it and be like, I don't like how they did. The only thing, okay, here, if I have to pick one thing I didn't really like about it, I know you are going to disagree with me on this. I did not really like the Kessel Run.
Okay.
Because I had always looked at it, like my perspective of what the Kessel Run was Han just being an amazing pilot. Where really, it wasn't just him. Like, it was a whole team effort. If they hadn't had that stuff and they hadn't had, L3's brain that they could put into the computer. It was definitely a group effort.
Which, by the way, again, I love it kind of with how going back to Rebels and Kanan's sacrifice, that meant Thrawn's project was dead, and they focused on the Death Star, which made the Death Star grow. That thing that added to the Star Wars lore, what's her name? L337 is a part of Millennium Falcon. And was in the original trilogy. So, like, there's that line in Empire where C-3PO is like, General Solo, I don't know where your ship, learned its dialogue or whatever, like it's being snippy with them. And I'm like, that's L337.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now it's like, okay, let's go back and watch the original trilogy. And it's just like how Rogue One and Rebels and Clone Wars add those depths and those new perspectives to the original trilogy and then some. I think it did a good job of that, too.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, I'm glad, I know you haven't finished, but I'm glad I read Last Shot before this.
Oh, yeah.
Because L3, the character L3, has a big part. She has a big part of that story. You'll find out when you get to the end. She plays a very big role in how that book goes. And so it's interesting, especially within the movie, they show her all about droid rights and droid freedom and whatever and droid power. Like she does, like in the book, she like does a lot of that, and it really shows how close her and Lando are, like how he trusts her and relies on her, and like how she can kind of mess with him a little bit.
They didn't have that close relationship you saw in the film.
Yeah, I mean, you really see how much he cared about her.
Yeah. Basically what she's saying is read the books, people.
Yeah,
okay?
The Last Shot book, I think it really did add.
If you enjoyed Solo more than the average bear, go ahead and pick up, what was it? Last Shot.
Last Shot.
That's right. I'm in the middle of it right now. I'm going to force myself these next couple days to finish it and get through it because there's another book in there.
Yeah, I just pre-ordered it and downloaded it.
Okay, when's it come out?
It just came out.
Okay.
I had pre-ordered
You haven't started listening to it yet, though.
No.
What's that one called?
I can't remember.
Something Han Solo one. It's about Han Solo and Kira when they're on where do they
I can't remember. I know that it was just available for. I pre-ordered it and I just got an email yesterday or something that it had been
it's Kira and Han Solo when they're young, right?
I don't even know. I just know it was a Star Wars book.
Anyway, all right. So before we go into deep character descriptions and thoughts, let's talk a little bit about the box office, okay? So going to this film with all the trouble and the fact that it was a film that not a lot of people really wanted, and then, of course, there's the whole controversy with The Last Jedi kind of splitting the fan base. People weren't projecting very high numbers for Solo. But then, a couple weeks ago, they were talking 150 domestic, maybe 130, and then it comes in at 83 million this weekend, and people are like, oh my god, it's a failure, oh my god. And then it did, I think, a couple more overseas for a total of 150. I don't think it's going to hit the $1 billion club anymore, but as much as it is the lowest for the new Star Wars films, I still don't consider it a failure because of everything that it had going against it.
No, I mean, we've been saying this for months. I mean, I think that what was really going to kick this in the, destroy the opening box office weekend was this week.
Yeah.
Coming out right now. I don't think it was a good decision.
If they would have kept their December release, I think they would have been much better.
With Avengers still trailing and, still being, honestly, I like this movie, but if I had to choose to go see a movie again this week, I would go see Avengers again.
Yeah, I would see Avengers again. I was thinking, somebody asked John Campea this weekend, they're like, would you rather go see Avengers, Deadpool, or Solo again?
Avengers.
And he said Deadpool, but he's probably seen Infinity War a dozen times. I'd rather go see Avengers again.
Yeah, exactly. I'd go see Avengers again. And that's the whole thing. That's how Star Wars makes that kind of money, is repeat watching. How many times do we go see Force Awakens and do we go see Rogue One and all those movies? That's the thing. It's people, you have to go. Movies can't make that kind of money unless you go back and see them again.
Yeah.
And right now, with Avengers still doing so well and with Deadpool only in its second week.
A couple weeks, you got Incredibles, Jurassic World.
There's too many good movies that come out in the summer. If you want to make that kind of money, you have to do like Avengers and be the first one of the summer, or you have to do it not in the summer.
Yeah.
Summer movies, there's too much competition for a movie that needs repeat watches.
You can't expect, Avengers got ahead of it because they moved even a week earlier they were 3 weeks out before Deadpool and Han Solo hit, so they had that 3 weeks where they owned it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, that with Star Wars, when they open in December, they just don't have much competition. The only competition usually in December are cheeseball family films.
And that's one thing that I didn't like too is that now that they've kind of taken it off December, like I was telling you earlier, that kind of week that usually a Star Wars movie would come out, you got people scrambling for that. Aquaman, Alita Battle Angel, a bunch of other movies that are coming out like around that time that are scrambling for that because they know how profitable it can be now. Now they want that December spot because, well, if Star Wars can do it,
I still don't think that the December spot is necessarily innately profitable, though. I think it's a good fit for Star Wars because there's not a people. By and large, I know your family was big about going to the movies around the holidays.
We did.
That is not the norm. December, I don't think if you take Star Wars. I mean, I haven't done the numbers. But I think if you take Star Wars films out of the mix, box offices in December are not gigantic.
Okay.
Because most families do family things at home around the holidays. Most families don't go to the movies around the holidays. They just don't.
But, okay, I agree with you partially.
Except for Star Wars.
I agree with you partially on that, but there's a reason for years and years and years and decades that summer and December have been the biggest box office season because that's when people are out of work, out of school.
Is December big? That's what I'm asking.
Exactly, it is. It's always been big.
Even when it's not a Star Wars movie.
Even from November to December has always been the second biggest movie going times because that's when kids are out of school. So summer, of course, is still number one, but December and Thanksgiving to Christmas is still the biggest because of the fact that people are out.
I'm gonna look this up, historical data, because I've
been going to movies my whole life.
I believe that you. That doesn't mean you know anything about the box office just because you've been going to the movies.
Oh, I know. Okay.
I'm just saying I'm gonna look it up because I need numbers to back up that.
But anyway, even if it doesn't do well, because with all the reshoots, it is a very expensive film to make, and people are like, well, should they start questioning their spin-off films now? Should they rework the tool? I'm like, no, that's a Warner Brothers DC move, okay? I think Solo, whatever they're doing, had nothing to do with, the type of films they're making. It had to do with, like I said, you had so much working against this film with,
coming off of Last
Jedi, the director change, a movie that not a lot of people were, happy with being made. It had a lot going against it. So for that, I totally understand, but I don't want to see them derail whatever they had in mind. Although there can be a lot said that maybe, I guess when you compare them to Marvel, Marvel has this grand scheme of everything. Sometimes I feel like Kathleen Kennedy and those over at Lucasfilm don't have that
master plan.
They're not thinking 10, 20 films ahead, like say Kevin Feige and Marvel is, but they should. They're thinking maybe 4 or 5 films ahead.
I don't even know if they're doing that.
I don't know if they're doing that. I mean, I'll get to that here in a little bit with Boba Fett. But
I thought we were just doing a Solo review.
Okay, we got to talk a little about what's coming next. Anyway, so let's just go back to Solo here and talk. We're going to go down. I got IMDb pulled up. We're going to go down character for character and just kind of, try to cover the basis. I'm sure we're going to leave some stuff out. You guys fire back and let us know what we leave out. So starting off, Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich. As we said, he did a good job. I felt this Han Solo was much more relatable to me than it was, Harrison Ford's Han Solo, because again, he wasn't as pessimist, he wasn't as much anti-hero, he was very hopeful, he was fun to watch, in my opinion,
I agree.
He was a lot of fun to watch. I loved him when he played off of Lando, too, Donald Glover, he's like kind of the yin and yang, like he was kind of playing with them.
The two of them, we can just talk about them together, the two of them were great.
Oh yeah, they were great.
I thought that they're, especially since they were just meeting in this one. This is the beginning of...
Donald Glover was Lando.
Oh, he was great.
He was so great, like pulling off what you think Lando is, Donald Glover was it, He had that little bit of that Billy D accent going on, but he still tried to own it a little bit, but he did a great job. And look, I love that part where they're staring down, the other people they think are bad guys at the time. They're like, we got 30 guys in that ship, and they're all going to come out. And then all of a sudden, Lando takes off with a Falcon. And we're like, okay. Something like that, It's made the film fun. And, like people said, Last Jedi and Rogue One were very heavy films, very dramatic films. And I think we needed a fun film like this to, get us back to what Star Wars is all about. Okay. Next up, we had Jonas. I'm gonna say his
Whatever,
last name.
Chewie.
Chewie. We're gonna say Jonas because I know I got the first name right. I can never say his last name right. But this is the first time where he was completely him playing Chewbacca. In Last Jedi, the sitting parts, and in The Force Awakens, you had Peter Mayhew, the original Chewbacca, stand in there when Chewie was sitting down. This is all Jonas in this one, and looks like he's our new Chewie from here on out. And, Chewie he's a family dog. Everyone loves him. You want to love him. And
I liked Chewie.
How did you feel about his introduction?
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked that. I liked how, Han, saved him. How he got Chewie to trust him. I thought it was really cute when he was speaking.
Yeah.
Screwy Luke?
Yeah,
Shiri
we were watching some of the Forces of Destiny cartoons yesterday on YouTube, and we had the closed caption on, and when Chewie was speaking, it said the language that he was speaking.
Shrilly Wook. I have to look it up.
It's something like that.
It's something like Shrilly Wook language, apparently, is what they speak. But yeah, the fact that Han was speaking that.
Yeah.
And he got Chewie to trust him, and then how they, became friends, and
yeah,
I thought it was interesting.
So in the legend story, the legend story about how they met was that Han was an Imperial, and he saw Chewie being tortured or misused, and he saved his life, and then Chewie owed him a life debt, which this one isn't that far off, because pretty much
he saved Chewie.
Yeah, obviously he wanted to save himself. He didn't want Chewie to, eat him.
No, but he saved him.
But he saved him. He's like, hey, if we work together, we can both get out of here, you know? So he saved him for that. They didn't say anything about a life debt or anything like that, but Chewie still stuck around. Why do you think Chewie's sticking around?
I think he likes him.
I think it has to do with exactly what Kira said. He's a good guy, dumb, underneath it all.
Yeah, I think Chewie could tell. Even though Han needed to get out of that pit as bad as Chewie did, after they got out, Han still was like trying to help him. Make sure he got out safely. He wasn't just like, okay, out.
In that last scene when Chewie saw the other Wookiees being tortured, Han didn't say, hey, we have to go. He's like, here, take this, you're going to need it, He said, I understand you have to go,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I think Chewie can just sense that he really is a good guy.
Yeah, and Jonas from now on is our Chewbacca, and that's okay, I always said there's a couple of people in Star Wars you're never going to see die because almost anybody can play him. And I'm not saying that anybody can play Chewbacca but as long as you have a tall person who can decently, move.
Yeah.
Like R2-D2. R2-D2 is a bunch of beeps, and he's now remote controlled. Anthony Daniels is C-3PO. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I know.
Because anybody can be C-3PO, but it's the voice.
Yeah, I don't know
It's the voice for that. So I don't know about C-3PO, but any event, so Chewbacca is great. Woody Harrelson coming in as Beckett. I knew at some point it was going to be either him or Kira that betrayed Han. And, at the end there, Beckett did it, and he's the one that told Han not to trust anyone, so it made sense. It wasn't a surprise at all, of course.
No.
What I loved is that Han was ready for it.
Yeah.
He was ready for it. He learned, and he listened to what Beckett said about not trusting anyone. So, totally understandable there. Woody Harrelson, of course, always does a great job. Good actor. Yeah. No complaints about that.
I thought he was fine.
He played.
I don't think he was a great character, like the character of Beckett. It was just like necessary for the film, for the plot.
Yeah, he's not one of those new characters that I want to see more of.
Well, good, because he did.
Of course. But speaking of which, Han shot first.
Oh yeah.
Han shot first. What?
A whole different situation.
Oh my gosh, yes. I cheer. I felt like I cheered out loud.
You said something.
I cheered out loud, when that happened, because I'm like, boom, loved it.
Yeah, but I think Beckett did. I think Woody Harrelson did a great job as Beckett, and I think Beckett's character was necessary for the film. But he isn't a character where I feel like we're gonna have like patches and people getting being super into him.
We're not gonna see him pop up in like books or anything like that.
I don't think so.
All right, but Kira, played by Emilia Clarke, is another story.
She was awesome.
She was great. I know I know Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones, and I'm already in love with her. So as you, who not the Game of Thrones fan, how did you feel about Emilia Clarke?
I thought she did a great job. I think she fit the character very well. Like she had that level of like gravitas that I think that character needed, especially once she was working for Dryden Voss.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think I think she was great. I mean, she's
Yeah.
gorgeous. Like she
Mm-hmm.
was able to pull off the like peasant, girl when they were in on Corellia, but like she was also able to pull off whatever she does for Dryden Voss.
Yeah.
I think she was great. I'm really intrigued by her story now, and I would really like to know what happened. What I would like her story between when Han left her on Corellia and when he found her again with Dryden Voss.
So that's one thing. When Han meets up with her, from the trailers or the previews, I knew he was going to meet her at that party. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, is she going to be mad that Han left her all those years ago and betray him because of that?
No, I don't.
And the whole time I was waiting for her to betray him because I was like, is this an act? Is this an act?
I didn't
Is
think
she really
so.
mad? And it kept me guessing the whole time, because I knew at some point Han had to get betrayed by somebody.
Right.
And
he doesn't end up with her.
Yeah,
Obviously.
exactly. So something had to happen to her. People are like, she's either going to betray him, which has him with his bad taste about women, or she was going to die, which makes him feel all sad.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
But they did something different, and that's she left, which really you can tell she loves Han.
Yeah, she left because she had to.
She had to because she didn't want to pull him in, like you said,
right.
into that world. She left because she cared about him that much. But it's almost like,
But I really want to know now what the shit.
Okay, let's get into it. Let's go into it, okay?
Like,
all right. So, big surprise, Darth Maul. She's working for Darth Maul. No,
so basically Darth Maul is running Crimson
Dawn.
Crimson Dawn. Basically Crimson Dawn, the crime syndicate, is the head of it is Darth Maul, is Maul.
So Darth Maul, played again by Ray Park, but voiced by Lisa's fantasy boyfriend.
Well, he's one of my fantasy boyfriends.
And whatever.
You can't forget about my pirate angel.
She got to meet him at Star Wars Celebration and hug him and touch him.
Oh my gosh.
And did you feel all the abs?
Well, I didn't touch his stomach, obviously. That's kind of creepy.
Oh, you could.
Well, I kind of did a little when I had my arm around him. Like the side abs.
He would have noticed if you tried to feel them.
He might have felt like that was a little creepy.
A little inappropriate. You know what? Given how some Star Wars fans or geeks are, I'm sure it's nothing he would
whatever.
know.
Next time I meet him, I will touch his abs.
Okay.
Okay, Sam Moyer, if you hear this, next time I meet you.
Game on, punk, okay?
I want to touch your abs.
She's going to touch your abs, and you're going to feel like my husband's are better.
And his dimples.
And his dimples. I think he'd be better with you touching his dimples than his abs.
He's so cute.
Okay, anyway, moving on. So, Darth Maul. So, for those of you who don't know, Darth Maul survived.
Maul. Just Maul. He's not Darth
Calm
Maul.
down, okay. Maul survived the Phantom Menace. That's right. Go back, kids. Watch a bit of Clone Wars. Watch some Rebels. Get into how Maul survived. I'll give you specific episodes if you don't want to watch all of it. But here's what we know, okay? We've watched Rebels. We saw Darth Maul die. Sorry, spoilers.
He does actually die.
He does actually die by the hands of Obi-Wan again. But at the end of Clone Wars, Emperor Palpatine, or the Chancellor at the time, Darth Sidious, found him and his brother, Savage Opress, and they had taken over Mandalore, causing a civil war. The Emperor, or Darth Sidious, puts him in his place, kills Savage Opress, and tortures Maul, saying, I still have a use for you. From there, we go to Star Wars Son of Dathomir, which is the only Dark Horse graphic novel that is still considered actual canon. Okay? And basically what it is, it tells the story of after that episode, when Maul is being tortured by Sidious and Count Dooku and Grievous, and pretty much, long story short, he is rescued by Death Watch, who he's now in charge of, and basically they fly off. Next thing we know, the next time we see Maul in canon after that is he pops up on Rebels. What's the name of the planet? Is it Morban?
Oh, when they go to find the
the temple. The temple. In
I can't remember.
I think
that sounds
the
right.
planet. Yeah, I think Morban. So that's what is that? That's going to be a good at least 10 years maybe. Mm-hmm. No, more than that, because the Son of Dathomir was before Episode 3.
Oh, yeah, Rebels, and this one is
so you're talking at least 17 years, because we're not quite 19 years.
I mean, Ezra's what, 15?
Season 2, so he's 16. So let's
16.
say about 16 years. Let's just say 16 years.
It's got to be more than 16 years though, because if that happened before the Emperor was the Emperor.
Yeah, because from episode 3...
And Ezra was born on Empire Day.
Yeah, episode 3 to episode 4 is 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to think probably 16, 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that's a part of Darth Maul, or Maul. We don't know what he's doing.
Well, now we know a piece of it.
Now we know a piece of it. And one thing that excites me is the fact that they put Maul back in a movie. Not an animated series, a movie. So to me, it gives me an idea that maybe, just maybe, they're going to bring Maul back in the movies, or maybe gear up for some kind of Maul film spinoff, maybe, perhaps. I mean, you know how, they think that audiences love films about the bad guys. Perhaps they might go that way with it, but I just like they brought him back, and to me it signifies that, yeah, we saw Maul die finally, or, last time, hopefully, in Rebels, that he's not done in the Star Wars universe. That it always reminds you that there's 16 years there. There's always more story to tell. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But that got me excited.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I'm just really curious, too, to see how Kira got into that. How, Crimson Dawn got her involved.
Yeah.
To get her to where she was with Dryden Voss, which we can just segue into Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss, played by Paul Bettany.
He was awesome.
Yes. Paul Bettany's always awesome.
Paul Bettany is awesome.
He is.
Oh my god, he was scarier than... he was so freaky. That character, he was so good.
Yeah.
I was really impressed.
He played the crime boss very well.
He really did. I was scared. Every time when he would, be talking to Kira and, touch her and how uncomfortable she would get... I was like, oh my god, he's so creepy. He's so creepy.
He played it well. He
really did.
He played his part well, so I will definitely give that to him. Mm-hmm. He died, though. She stabbed him, right?
Yeah, she killed him.
That's what it was. Yeah, okay. So, cool. But then I think part of the thing, again, going to play, she wanted to continue to play the game, and she was at a point where she had to get rid of him, and now guess what? She is him now, She's she contacts Maul and says, okay, I'm ready. Let's run the show. The little ring there too going on. And then I want to go back. I want to watch the movie again sometime within the next week or so. I'm going to go back and see it. And I want to go back to that description where they described Crimson Dawn and how they came to be and stuff like that. Because remember, Maul runs them. So I think that's another hint about what Maul's been doing as well, about how he formed this organization. Did it come out of Death Watch or something like that? I don't know. But I totally forgot. A part of Maul's history was that after he was rescued, they had the Battle of Mandalore, which isn't official canon, I guess, yet, because it wasn't an episode of Clone Wars, but there was the storyline where Ahsoka, after leaving the Jedi Order, ends up on Mandalore, and Obi-Wan and Anakin come back because, remember, in that episode of Clone Wars, Obi-Wan said, I'll come back. And then we never saw him come back because the series was canceled. Well, he comes back with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and then they get called away to go rescue the Chancellor for the events of episode 3. And Ahsoka is left there with Rex and the 501st to take down Maul at Mandalore. So that part isn't official canon because there's no book or television series or something like that, but that was Dave Filoni and people at Clone Wars' idea of where to go next, or probably how to finish off Clone Wars. But again, not official canon, so really you can't put that in there in Maul's history. But in any event, okay, Lando, Donald Glover.
We talked about him.
We talked about him. Did a great job. Thaddy Newton played Val in this. Thandie Newton? Is it Thandie?
Yeah, it's Thandie.
What'd I say?
Fatty.
Thandie. Sounds good. All right, played Val. Kind of a small part.
Whatever. She was good.
Yeah, she was okay. Not too bad. The droid in this one, L337, voiced by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. We got a new droid. She's clicking on IMDb, folks, to see what else she's been in, and I don't know any of these. That Man Up movie with...
she was really good, though.
I wanted to see that.
Her voice reminded me of someone, but I can't place it.
She's not... Hey, she's going to be in the Goodbye Christopher Robin. Oh, yeah, she was the maid or whatever. The nanny, that's who it was.
No.
Yeah, she was the nanny in Goodbye Christopher Robin.
No.
Yeah, that's exactly who it was. Yes, I remember that now.
No, because the lady who was the nanny in that, she was She was in that,
You sure?
Yeah, Gosford Park. No, the nanny from the... Talking about the one that we saw before, the one with,
Yeah, with Donald Gleason and
that,
Margot Robbie.
The lady who played the nanny in that, she was from Gosford Park.
I don't know.
We'll look all this up later.
We'll look it up later. Okay, but anyway, so we got a new droid. How did you like her?
Oh, she's in Broadchurch.
Okay.
Maybe that's where I know her.
How did you feel L3 compared to other droids?
I think that the Star Wars universe is doing a lot with the droids now, more than they used to. R2, 3PO had a lot of, character, whatever, but I feel like for a long time it just seemed like you only had 3PO and R2. Even when they brought in, like, the prequels, it still wasn't...
Yeah, you had R4. Really.
Yeah, but not really. Like, the droids weren't a huge thing. It was still just 3PO, or R2.
Most of the droids in the prequels were, like, the battle droids, too.
Right. The droids weren't a big deal.
Yeah.
And then even when you look at the new ones, like with, you have BB-8 who got brought in for a little bit of character. But then in these standalone
K2SO.
ones, you got K2SO, who was funny and clever and, had a good rapport with, why am I having a blank on his name?
Cassian.
But then I think in this one they went even farther. I mean, L3, especially if you take what they showed about her character in the book, I mean, she is talking about how droids are sentient, droids are learning, droids have personalities and behaviors and interests and
because they compared it to slavery pretty much in this one.
Yeah, that's her thing. Her whole mission is droid rights, for droids to realize they are being enslaved, for droids to realize their potential, that they have these emotions and that they're not just, silly machines and whatever. I think that she did a great job.
Yeah, I think again the character was something to build off of, something new aspect, because that's the thing I worried about in the previews. It was like, okay, another droid with a personality, kind of like K2SO, but she was a little different, like I said, almost like the activist kind of.
Yeah, she was hilarious when they were in that place and she was like took the little homing beacon off the droid and she was like
training bolts.
Yeah, and she was like, "Go for your friends," and then all of a sudden he like started a droid rebellion.
Yeah, exactly. She was trying to free the droids, droid freedoms. She was all about that. She had that little different aspect to her. And now we know she is part of the Falcon. Whether that's going to come into play later on, we'll wait and see about that. But in any event, it was okay. Not my favorite droid, of course.
I still like K2SO better.
Please. R2-D2 is still going to be the most badass Star Wars character ever because he saves everybody's ass.
In terms of their personalities, though, I'm saying.
Exactly. R2-D2. R2-D2.
Chopper has way more
R2-D2. Oh, Chopper. That's right. You got Chopper in there, but it's still R2-D2 jokes. Okay. All right. We already talked about Paul Bettany. And then we have Jon Favreau did the voice of Rio Durant, the alien at the beginning. Which you didn't recognize, I told you about, but I know, after you thought about it, you said, oh, yeah, kind of does sound like him there. He was an interesting character. Wasn't in there a whit, but he was an interesting character, so really liked him. And then, so this character, the Enfys Nest. So when she took her helmet off, I swear I thought there was... The way she looked, like she, had a little of mixed race in her.
Yeah, she definitely looked mixed race.
She looked mixed race, so to me that was almost like... Is that like Beckett and Val's kid? Is that what they're trying to say? I mean, that's just where my head went to. I don't think so. Probably not, but in any event, and then Lady Proxima, who was Han and Kira's boss or whatever.
She voiced her?
Yeah, voiced by Linda Hunt from Kindergarten Cop and Pocahontas fame, I guess you could say. But that was a little interesting fact on that. And I think that's pretty much covers all the main characters. There was... Who was it? Tag and Bink. I never saw Tag and Bink.
Are they supposed to be in this?
Yeah, they were supposed to be in it, and I kept on waiting for them. If you guys don't know who Tag and Bink are, these comic book characters. That is a hilarious comic. If you haven't read Tag and Bink Strikes Back, check it out. You'll laugh your ass off if you're a Star Wars fan. But I didn't see them. Maybe it wasn't as notable, perhaps, but I didn't see them. But again, I'm going to go see the film again, and hopefully I will see them in the film. But in any event, overall, Solo, a Star Wars story, I enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to as much as I did. Like I said, I didn't think I was going to hate it, but I didn't think I was going to love it either. And I loved it more than I hated it, definitely. So I didn't say I love it, but, you know.
So you liked it?
Yes, there you go. So, but I definitely want to see it. Of course, I'm definitely going to put it on my list. I'm curious what other people thought, because there are several people that were like, against this film with, it wasn't Harrison Ford, it wasn't Billy D. Williams. They, had sour taste from Last Jedi in their mouths. I'm very curious what they thought about the film.
As of right now, for my just based on my Facebook friends that have seen it, that have posted, I've had one person that have posted they have not liked it.
Yeah. So, okay. Well,
everyone else has said
I think everyone liked it, but again, it comes down to repeat viewings. Sure, people can like it, but will they go back a second or third time to see it is what's going to propel this film to what it needs to get, I guess. Because, like I said, because of the reshoots, it is a very expensive film, so they need it to make money. But nonetheless, Disney and Lucasfilm, if it doesn't, become a success smash, I think they'll still be okay. I don't think they're going to change their plans for what they have. Speaking of which, let's look to the future now. Okay? Next up, we have a year and a half until episode 9. Now, that one is a little more, again, controversial because of The Last Jedi. We don't know, how it's going to do. It is the end of the trilogy, but a lot of people didn't like The Last Jedi, so they might not like where this trilogy is going. And Lisa is trying to look up Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Whatever, you don't need me to
I'm
talk.
Talking.
Just ignore it.
I want your feedback on this here. Episode 9. Do you think it's going to be good after Solo and The Last Jedi?
I don't know how I can answer that question.
Yes, you do.
I mean, I hope that they learn from what people didn't like about Last Jedi and they make some changes.
What changes? What do you want to change?
Oh, this is not a podcast about my dislike of Last Jedi.
Give me 2 things you did not like about The Last Jedi that you want to see them change.
I would like them to have a reasonable thing for Finn to do that's not stupid and unnecessary.
Okay.
Really, the entire... I don't even know where to begin.
I do. I know exactly where you can begin, because I'm pretty sure I know what you don't like about it. Was what's her name? Holdo.
Well, she's not the only thing. I didn't like Holdo.
I think that's your main beef about it.
No, it's not. That's not my main beef. I mean, I don't like how they portrayed her character. Not just because she's the wrong age and yada yada yada. I don't understand the entire Poe half of the film. The Poe, Finn, Leia, that whole half of the film didn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
Like, why would Holdo not just tell them the plan?
Okay.
Why not? Why not? She knew that Poe was reckless and that he was impulsive. She knew that. She knew him. Apparently, Leia had told her all about him. So why would she not realize? How many times do movies can they not realize that when you don't tell people things that are important, they do stupid things because they don't understand what the plan is?
But then everything will run smoothly, and then where's the drama?
Right. Exactly. Whatever. That whole thing. Poe and Rose going off to Canto Bight accomplished nothing.
I'll give you that. It's pointless.
It accomplished nothing. It was stupid. It accomplished nothing. As much as I thought Rose was fine, her character was completely unnecessary to the plot of the film. Her and Benicio del Toro's characters, not necessary.
I disagree with you on that because, again, it was Angel and Devil on Finn's shoulder. If you didn't have those 2 characters, if you didn't have that mission, Finn wouldn't have chosen to join the Resistance.
Whatever.
Anyway, but okay, I get you. Okay. Anyway.
I didn't mind all the stuff. I liked a lot the stuff with Rey.
Again, so
I want more Jedi.
Of course, and I'm right there with you. I know all the things you're saying you didn't like about it. I totally agree with you.
And I want the story to jump forward about 10 years in time.
10 years? I don't think they're gonna go 10 years.
I know they're not.
They can go 5 years.
Whatever.
5 years at most.
It needs to jump forward enough for the Resistance to have a chance to rebuild. If they start right where the last one left off, what the the movie will be over in 2 minutes. Like, there's nothing they can do. They're completely demolished.
Unless Rey is like this most badass Jedi.
Whatever.
And just goes on a solo mission against Kylo Ren, and it's just the 2 of them.
Maybe. That would be cool.
Exactly.
I want more Jedi. They need to rebuild.
Meanwhile, Poe leads a small band of Resistance fighters to take on the First Order and Domhnall Gleeson's character.
That would be fun. I like Poe.
I just made the movie for you. You're welcome, J.J. Abrams.
I like Domhnall Gleeson. I like Finn. I just don't think they used his character
I agree.
properly.
I agree. Again.
And I really liked the whole Rey. I liked Rey and Kylo Ren. I wasn't a huge fan of what they did with Luke. I liked some of Luke's stuff. I didn't like a lot of it. I don't like how they, I don't know, I have some beef with how they portrayed Luke.
Okay.
Similar to his issues with Luke.
Okay. Hey, I totally understand. Okay.
Mark Hamill's concerns about the...
So, you want things to go differently after The Last Jedi.
I want them to start using the story group.
Okay.
More.
Okay.
The story group does great things. They have great ideas. If you look at the books and you look at the animated
comics
stuff and the
comics,
Rebels, they have great ideas. They write great stories. And then the film...
Because they know Star Wars.
They know Star Wars. But no, instead, Kathleen Kennedy lets this guy who... I don't care if... What's his name?
Rian Johnson.
I don't care if he is a Star Wars fan. Maybe he's a Star Wars fan all his life. I don't know. He's not in the story group, and they let him do what he wanted, apparently, and I just don't agree.
I don't agree they let him do what they wanted. No.
He had a lot of control in that script.
You know what? I'll go ahead and tell you. You know, I mean, Ray's even what's her name? Daisy Ridley's even said herself when they told her who Ray's parents were, she's like, yeah, that's who her parents were. That's what I was told.
I don't have a problem with the Ray's parents issue.
Why? Okay, so then with say Luke Skywalker, when J.J. Abrams and everyone else was thinking about what Luke Skywalker was doing, you know, I'm just saying I don't feel like it wasn't that different from what everyone at Lucasfilm originally thought it would have been. I guess.
I think it's the little things, like they were talking about in one of the things.
We're totally off subject now. But okay.
Like when like Luke throwing the lightsaber.
I give you that.
That was Rian Johnson's idea. He said it in the thing. That was his. I just thought it'd be great. I think it was so stupid. I dislike that. I dislike that moment.
I could see him like throwing it over the shoulder. It was too comedic. Him just dropping it would have been fine.
Yeah, or just giving it back to Rey and walking the other direction.
Throwing it right in her head.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like little things like that. I just feel like I really would like... I think that Pablo Hidalgo and Leland Chee, and they just need to let the story group do their job.
Okay, so coming back to my original thought where I was trying to close this all up, episode 9, and then we have the Rian Johnson films, you know, which I'm sure you're looking forward to right now after that little rant. And then we got the Jon Favreau TV series that's going to be on the Disney streaming service that is set between episode 6 and episode 7. He said 7 years after episode 6, so we'll see how that goes. Then you got Star Wars Resistance, the new Dave Filoni animated series, which takes place several years before The Force Awakens. And then you got the Benioff and Weiss film. We're not sure what that is. People are thinking Old Republic just because they're in charge of Game of Thrones. I would really like that. I'm not going to go... I'm saying I would like it, but I'm not going to be as presumptuous to say, yeah, that's what they're doing. No, I'm not going to say that. And then, of course, there's the new rumor that James Mangold is going to be doing a Boba Fett spin-off film, which we knew the Boba Fett spin-off film was supposed to be done by Josh Trank until that whole Fantastic Four mess went down and, you know, he left the project. I'm going to talk about that later on as far as my thoughts about that. But needless to say, we have more Star Wars coming. And it's not going to change. You know, I'm not in Star Wars fatigue yet. Maybe I'll get there, but as of right now, I'm not. Because I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life. And I've had decades of not having Star Wars. So I need to make up for all that lost Star Wars I didn't get in my younger years. So, but who knows? Maybe we'll reach that point. Maybe we won't. But in any event, guys, that is the end of our review. So what we're trying to say is we liked Solo.
Go see it.
Go see it. Obviously, if you're listening to us by now, hopefully you've seen it. And fire back on the social media groups and Gmail. Let us know what you think. What are you looking forward to also past Solo? You know, episode 9, Benioff and Weiss, Jon Favreau series, Dave Filoni animated, of course. If you've seen Rebels, you'll be excited for anything that Filoni does. Mm-hmm. But okay, last question. What do you want to see? If you could pick a Star Wars story, what would you want to see?
I want to see more of Ahsoka.
Okay, so you want to do the Ahsoka Sabine? Mm-hmm. Ahsoka Sabine look for Ezra. See, I
want to do lots more Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I just want to know. I want to know not just where Ahsoka and Sabine go now after the end of Rebels. Like, I mean, that's after the end of everything. That's like after the Empire has fallen.
Yeah.
Where Ahsoka and Sabine go. I want to know that. I also want to know what Ahsoka was doing in that time during Rebels between the temple with Vader fight.
Why was she not in the original trilogy, pretty much?
Yeah, I want to know lots more about Ahsoka.
So that's one thing I want. The other thing I want a Luke Skywalker and young Ben like journey throughout the galaxy. You know, we know from Bloodlines they're out traveling the galaxy, maybe looking for Jedi artifacts or just Force artifacts or whatever. I want to see that adventure. Of course, let's throw in Sebastian Stan. Somebody did. Of course, everyone's saying Sebastian Stan. He looks so much like a young Mark Hamill. You could easily put him in there for the Jon Favreau live-action series.
That would be good.
He could guest star, not just like as a regular cast member, just guest star as Luke Skywalker. One or a couple episodes.
I want to see Ahsoka train Luke.
Yeah, and then again, that's one of my things too. Is I want to see. We know Ahsoka survived.
We know she was alive.
I want her. My thing. I've always said this. I want her to. As soon as I realize that she survives, past her fight with Vader, I want to see her come back and say, Luke, Leia, this is who your father was. This is the hero he was. This was the good person he was. Let them get to know that part of it. But also there's the casting going around. The kid from Stranger Things and It with the long black hair. People are comparing him to a young Adam Driver, and they're like, boom, there it is, Sebastian Stan and that kid, Luke and Ben, right there. You got something going on there. So, but all right, guys. Well, that is it for us. Of course, fire back on the social media groups and Gmail account. Let us know what you thought about Solo. What did you like? What did you not like? And we'll get into all the rest of the Boba Fett stuff later on in probably tomorrow or the day after show. That's it for me. Until next time, guys, may the Force be with us all.